There we go. How's everyone doing this evening? My name is Hex Manifesto, also known on the internet as Brian. I'm joined tonight by 4 other lovely people from the Pokemon community. To my left, Mythical Lae Snaps, photographer extraordinaire. To my right, Pokemon LDNAR, also known as Steve, the Beard Steverson. From now on, that's your name. Below on the right, we have returning G-Storm, the host / creator of the podcast Augmented Naturally. And then we have a new player tonight, Noah Plays 85, also on Instagram, does some graphic works for Trainer Club, and wants to get into some more AR photography. So welcome. How's everyone doing this evening?
It's good.
Yeah.
Good. Tonight we will be talking about reflections. There's lots and lots of ways to edit reflections. You can do single picture, invert it, and just lay it over a reflective surface. You can do 2 pictures like we'll be doing tonight, or some of us might be doing tonight. I'll be doing tonight. So your reflection is not the same thing as the original picture. There are many different apps to use. There's some apps that'll just instantly make your reflection, but I feel like you don't get as much control over things like that. And then there's ways that you can get real nitty gritty with it. I realized I forgot to turn back on my background, so boop, bye room. Cool. So what I like to use Snapseed. I feel like it gives you a lot of control over the actual reflection. Though it is a little more involved, but it also gives you a lot of practice with layer work. And also I'm doing the tutorial tonight. So that's it, we just started. We started with the explanation. So if everyone wants to go ahead and open up Snapseed, and we will dive on in. So I will be doing a edit using 2 pictures. We're gonna do a shiny Charmander staring into a glass with a shiny Charizard kind of, roaring back. The actual reflection edit isn't super difficult. The thing that happens when you do these edits is you get in the amount of time you put out. It's gonna be a lot of layer work. And for this tutorial, we're gonna kind of rough it a little bit. We're not gonna get quite as zoomed in and nitty gritty, but want to give you enough tool work that you can go ahead and go back in and do that yourself. So first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna open up tools, middle button, bottom. And on the bottom left on mine says double exposure. That is the tool we will be using first, the double exposure tool. And what the first thing we're gonna do is bottom left side of the 3, that little picture plus, we're going to first go in and get our other picture we need to overlay. So go to wherever all of your secret Pokemon pictures are hidden, as you'll now see like a ton of pictures I've taken because I took these pictures like 2 weeks ago now. So I'm going to scroll because I just didn't resave it. There we are, Charizard. I believe I want this one right here. All right, so what you're gonna have is just the 2 pictures, just completely unedited, laid over each other. One's gonna be smoky. First thing you wanna do is position. So just touch and drag. And for me, I'm gonna want the Charizard lined up. I'm almost gonna line them up exactly with the picture, which is another kind of big thing that I guess I should touch on. When shooting these pictures, if you can actually take the pictures where you're going to put it, like I took the picture of the Charizard in the window, it makes the editing part a lot easier because you don't have to cut as much around as if I was to just cover my lens and just take them with a full back background. So you have to cut out all the black because you wouldn't want to see like a weird black outline. So if you actually go and take these pictures in the places you want them, the positioning becomes a lot easier. So I want the Charizard to be a reflection in the glass, so I literally put the Charizard on the inside of the building, walked out of the building, just took a picture of the window with the Charizard already in the build. So what we want to do first, and we're going to come back and change this, right side bottom little like water droplet, that's the opacity. We're going to want to turn that up a bit just for now. We're going to come back and change it. And you're going to hit and check mark, save. And now is the tedious part. Top of the screen, little stack of paper with the arrow right there, edit stack button. We're going to click that. It's going to bring up your view edits. Go to view edits. Oop, there we go. And you're going to see your double exposure edit there on the bottom right. You bring that. And this allows you, the edit stack allows you to edit all the things you've done. So we are going to select the paintbrush here in the middle, and you're going to, then your Charizard is going to disappear and be like, what the heck did I do? You did nothing. You're fine. You're going to hit the button on the left next to the X, not the X, little like circle with the triangle. And that's going to bring up both pictures, and you're going to have this weird red thing on it. And then you're going to see double exposure in the middle and up and down arrows. What this does now is lets you control what is shown. So I'm just going to, don't do what I'm about to do. If you take it down to double exposure 0 and just wipe everything, you'll just erase the double exposure. Go back up, and the whole double exposure is back. So what are we going to do? We're going to erase all the part of the Charizard that we don't want in the final picture. So we're going to cut our double exposure back to 0. We don't want any of that on the left pretty much at all. So you can bring the whole picture pretty much to his hands or whatever you're using. We don't want any of this on the bottom because there's no glass there. And we're going to pinch zoom, and this is actually a column, so there's no reflective surface on this whole column. I'm going to delete the whole column all the way to the window. Whoops, I went a little too far. That's okay. If you go too far, you just up it back to 100 and add in where you accidentally deleted.
Here's a question.
Yep.
What if your photo, like say the tail of the Charizard was over the reflective surface?
If the tail of the Charizard, if it's on the reflective surface and you want it shown, you just leave it there. So like, for example, in my picture, if I put the reflective back on, so his feet are there on the sidewalk. Obviously, sidewalk has no reflection, so we just remove it. This little black line right here is also marble, so that would not be in the picture either. And then on my picture specifically, his hand actually goes over this weird metal piece. I have to chop a little bit of his hand off as well. And this is what I was talking about getting real nitty. So the nice part is, since I took this picture of the Charizard in the window, I don't have to go through, like I normally, like if this was a black background, I'd have to go through and come in here and get all behind the Charizard and erase that, erase all of that, but I don't have to because he's already, like, what's in his picture is what's in the original picture as well. Whoops, that was a mistake. So this makes it easy. So then you hit enter, and there's your Charizard. Reflection in the window. And then you can actually go in, back into the double exposure, hit these little tune lines, and that'll take you back. Now, just because you see the whole thing there, it's not all back, it's fine. All you want to do is hit the little drop again. And now you can kind of, like, if you're doing like a water reflection, you're probably going to want your opacity kind of down here on the lower end, maybe 15 to 30%. If you were doing like a mirror, you'd want like 90 to 100% because a mirror reflects full image back. Window, you're probably good around the 50%. You know, if it was a sunny day or depending on the angle you were taking it at, is just really, the opacity is just kind of how harsh of and you hit enter and you can see what it would look like. I was like, that still to me looks a little dark. I don't think the reflection would be quite that crisp. So I'm gonna just go back in, lower it down, maybe like 45, hit enter. That's probably a little more right. I also don't like how there's a line on his face. So I'm actually gonna go in with the stack brush. Actually, I don't know if I can because of the way I took these pictures, but no, the column might be there. So to fix that, I would have to do a heal tool on the base image, which I'm not going to bother doing, but that's what you would do. You would have to use the heal tool before you put in the double exposure and heal out that line, but it's not that bad. Actually, now that I have it back out, I think he might be a little too light. But this is what I was talking about, where you can turn like a quick 5-minute edit into a quick 30-minute edit, just kind of getting nitpicky with yourself in what you can see and what you can't see. But that is the basic tools you would use. It's just a combination of layer edits, moving your opacity around to kind of mimic whatever material you're using your reflection on, and then making sure that you don't have any, like, if there was like a person standing behind him or something, you'd have to either make the Charizard full opacity to remove him, or you'd have to go in and heal out or edit out the person before putting it in there. Does everyone have like a rough spot like this where they're at least okay with their reflection position, and or any comments, questions, or concerns?
Ish, yeah.
Now, after we tweak this some more, it could change. Like I'll just throw on like one of my default looks like that, which also, I mean, it just looks so good. I mean, it's just hard to compete with just natural talent of no. But like, so this particular filter kind of whites out parts of the Charizard that I don't like. I'll probably just start with my frame, go in. I'll just walk through some of the tools that I like to use. I live in a city, so I usually go into details. Sorry, that's a little fast. Tools, details is the second item. In here, you can move your finger up and down, pressing anywhere that's not on the picture, and control the structure and the sharpening. I like very high structure in my pictures, just because of the amount of like rocks, glass, metal, and city pictures. It really brings out kind of a texture to it. It doesn't work so well in like nature pictures. I also usually add a little HDR people, because again, city, but you can use the nature one. And that is Tools HDRscape, second one, third column down. You can choose between nature and people. It's pretty self-explanatory. Use nature for nature, people for people. And then Tune Image is another good tool. Tune Image will do all your basic brightness, saturation, ambiance, highlights. I usually like to kick my ambience down a little bit, because after you do HDRscape, your photo usually has like this brightness to it that I don't really like. It like brings out highlights. And then to kind of, it's still kind of bright around the outsides for me, so I'm gonna just darken just the edges. And that's mostly it. As I said, you could get real selective using the selective tool, mess with your shadows and stuff like we did on our previous one of our previous tutorials. But the rest of it's really just tinkering with your image. As far as the reflection work is done after, so now, say now you've gone back and you don't like it, so you can always go back to this view edits and always edit, no matter how many things you add here. So you can see we've added a selective, we've tuned it, HDR scape details, added a frame. It doesn't matter. Even though we've done all that, you can still go right back down to your double exposure, open it up, make them more dark, less, or opaque, less opaque. If you want to, if you realize all of a sudden, shoot, I don't want his hand there, you can even go in now with the slack brush and just remove his hand completely now if you want. Like, boop, gone, no more hand. I really enjoy edits that use this layer manipulation. I think it's the strongest thing Snapseed brings as far as an editing app. Just being able to go in and say you've added like 6 different things, and then all of a sudden you realize you didn't like what you did with your structure. Like, oh, this looks real fake, I'm going to turn my structure down now. You don't have to scrap your whole picture and go back and start over again. You can change anything anytime you want until you save. Once you save the picture, it all gets collapsed, it gets permanent. But until you save it, you can go back and change anything. I'm mostly happy with how that looks, to be honest. Like I said, this would take a lot longer if I was to just have covered my screen and use a black background. You'd have to have gone in between all of the Charizard's wings and everything and really edit out all your background. I'll show another example while people are finishing up theirs. I took this picture. Hopefully this isn't too long ago that I can easily find it. 1 million screenshots of Pokemon. Oh, should be like right here. Where are you? No. Well, I can show you the final one. Secret projects. Oh, here it is. Okay. So like this. So I took this picture, I edited in the reflection of the Registeel. You can see the Registeel perfectly in the thing, but if you look below it, there was actually a whole building there already on the chrome bus thing. So I actually had to use the heal tool and take out that entire building and make it all blue. So when I put the Registeel in, it didn't just look like there was a building inside of it. And that took like maybe 40 minutes total to heal it all out correctly and then put in the reflection. And so these can get quite complicated, even if you do use a good position. Reflective surfaces are tricky. Easy things to do are like water, especially if it's just like sky above it, or a window, like a reflection of a building if it's just sky. Once you get things in your reflections, like other people that might be behind you walking by, or cars, especially with mirrors, because mirrors reflect perfectly. So like you'll have whole solid objects. You'll have to edit all those out before you put your Pokemon reflection in. And that about covers it, I think. Any questions? How's everyone's picture looking?
Yeah, man.
I've been really picky with it, so I haven't gotten too far.
Trying to think. So here's another app, I believe Mirror Lab, and I think if I can show it very quickly. Showing all my new pictures. Don't steal all my ideas. Mirror Lab does this cool thing where you can just literally mirror. But like I said, there's very little control over it. But depending on what you're doing, what your picture is of, it's a cool way to and you can obviously, there's like a million different things. You can mirror vertical. I actually use this one for a Meryl one I did. Meryl was standing on like a bench over water, and I just mirrored it instead of messing with the reflection thing, and that works out well. It's definitely useful in like if like your setting is just perfect for just like a flip mirror, and you don't really need to waste too much time with positioning. Anyone ready to share?
Yeah, I can share.
All right. Let me get out of here and give you.
Okay. Right. Let's have a look. So I started off with a crabby on the bank, and ta-da!
All right.
And then I just went into Lightroom as you were talking and just edited a couple of tiny little bits. I was quite happy with what Snapseed did.
Yeah, I like using everything in one app as much as possible, mostly because not always, but sometimes if you're saving in between multiple apps multiple times, you'll lose some quality and compression in the same, which isn't noticeable too much in Pokemon pictures, thankfully, because we're already using a screenshot basically instead of an actual picture, so the quality is already quite garbage compared to taking a picture with our actual cell phones. Especially once you make it like this big, you start seeing all the all the imperfections. I like it. You can kind of see some sky underneath him, which has come with a little bit more time cutting things in and out. But your angle's not too far off. Like if you wanted to get like picky, like the one thing with reflections is like, so this looks nice, right? And obviously it's a good picture. I'm not attacking the picture, but you have to think of where you really want to do reflection pictures and know you're going into it as a reflection picture, because you wouldn't be able to see this crabby's eye like in the reflection from that angle, right? So like, you really have to put a lot of forward thinking into your picture taking when you know you want to do a reflection picture, because you have to think about what, like how high your camera is, low, like the angle, and what would be reflected. Like I took a really nice picture one day of this mudkip on a bank, just like that. And I edited the same thing, kind of like, but like the mudkip was looking up and it was his face. And I was like, well, I guess really the reflection would just be like that gill thing he has. Like you really wouldn't see anything else from where I was standing. I should have walked around to the other side of the bank and taken the picture like kind of down.
Yeah.
So actually, that was what you would see. So little things like that to keep in mind when you're doing reflection shots. You really want to be very forward thinking about your picture taking. Aledra? What?
I was being distracted by my dog.
Oh.
Would you like to see my photo?
I would.
Okay, let me see here.
Hoorah!
Did it. Wait, don't look at it yet. Okay, this is what I started with. Haha. And that was a little green one.
Uh-huh.
And then that is what I came up with. I don't actually feel like where the green one is positioned, but for today, that's okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, you have the idea down. It's pretty good. The ripply water is hard for reflections because obviously it wouldn't make such a perfect reflection like that. But yeah, I would probably have dragged the whole Meryl down some and probably just like cut off his feet.
Yeah, me too.
And but yeah, that's what.
And it's like lighter where he is because that's exactly where I stood in the water to like position that other Meryl, the blue one. So I like stuck the dirt there, so it was lighter than everywhere else. But
it just kind of looks like an angry Meryl that you drowned a little bit. He's just very unpleased with you that you've now put him on the
so rude.
It's like the Grudge Pokemon story, Meryl style.
Noah,
Yes, sure. Try and. All right. Share. No, wrong button. Share.
it should give you a
Screen.
bunch of options and just select screen.
Allow permission.
Yep.
And there we go. There are the original photos. I used your Charmander and Charizard. Oh, come on, rotate. There. There's Charmander and there's Charizard. And then, obviously, it's not perfect, but I like kind of dark and like, I guess, stingy kind of photos.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoy those.
Yeah, I think the reflection looks good.
Obviously, sir, there are some little bits like the tip of the wing there that would
Yeah,
need
the
to be
tip of the wing and the tail you could remove using the same. But I didn't notice. Is that? Yeah, that's on mine too. I need to. So like, where that line is, like under his belly, like the real dark and obvious one, would probably go into the original, the Charmander one, and just heal that line completely away, so that line just didn't exist in the base photo anymore.
Oh yeah.
Usually, a lot of things they're like some of the littler lines are more forgiven in the reflection because it could be something across the street or something else, but that one's very blatantly the floor, and you wouldn't. I mean, maybe you'd see it, I guess, depending on how you were standing.
Like the little lines in the Charizard's neck, you can obviously tell that's a reflection in the window, but here you can tell, like, I guess, for example, not really sure what it is, but in Charizard's wing, you can see that's not part of the reflection. That's part of the building inside.
And that's just a lot of, again, that forward thinking. And then like if I was doing this for Instagram and I did that, then I would just delete this picture and just go back in and start again with my base and heal out what I know is going to show. And then you won't have that problem. And then you just go through the same steps.
It's also a bit easier when it's your photo because you know what's where, who's what. Yeah.
Yeah, very good. So you feel like you could do this, like you could go take a picture and.
Oh yeah, 0 to 100.
Huh?
I went from 0 to 100. My knowledge of this, how to do it. So.
Good.
It worked. Perfect.
G, what you got, bud?
Okay, I spent a lot of the time just trying to figure out which one to actually do, so it took me a bit more time. May have not done the best with it, but let me see if I can bring it up. So that's what I started with.
One of my favorite.
And then that's what I ended with the limited time.
So you're going for like a reflection off the side of the tank type thing?
Yeah.
I see it. I get where you're going. Yeah, that would be definitely one of the things. Man, that's it. Can I see the original again? Man, that's a tough edit. That.
Yeah.
And did you just use the same picture twice?
I actually used it 3 times because the original, I melded the two a little bit rough, and then the original wasn't as bright as I wanted it to be, so I just put another double exposure on top of it to make it a little brighter for that one Joltik, so that they could see the original Joltik and then the reflection.
Yeah, you did not choose an easy for the tutorial. Yeah, side reflection out of a tank. That's interesting. That's cool. That's a cool idea.
Oh yeah, I also used there was that other tool that changed the perspective. So I changed the perspective over a little bit.
Yeah.
That way it seemed like it was a curved tank a little bit.
That's cool. Yeah, with some more time spent in like what you're showing and hiding in the layers, and then yeah, that's interesting. And I'm just thinking about like what I'm trying to think like in my head, because I've had lots of reptiles when I was a kid, like what the angles would be like and how to make it easier on you, like to take a second picture of the Joltik and what angle you would take the second picture of to make it a little easier for the edit. Man.
Well, I probably just needed to plan out the shots a little better.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, because you get your first one, you'd probably want to stand a little bit more to the left, so you're looking a little bit more at the glass reflection side, and then you would take another picture of the Joltik just maybe completely from the side and edit it in instead of, because you would think like you wouldn't really like same as Steve's picture, like the side reflection you wouldn't really see the eyes and nose, you would see more like the whole side silhouette. That's still really good. That's a tough one to throw into the tutorial. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that. So you put some time into a picture like that and post it. It'd be some good attention. I don't think I've ever seen anyone do like a terrarium picture with a Pokemon using a reflection of the glass as well. You see a lot of people use like a lot of the water Pokemon, they like put it in the aquariums and stuff, but not so much with the reflection, especially a side reflection like that.
And I'm assuming that was taken with just regular Niantic AR, so I guess that shows that you don't need AR Plus for a good edit.
Yeah. No, not.
If you don't care about the background, yeah.
Non-AR Plus has a lot of good uses. We get kind of comfortable using AR Plus, and we don't really think about ever going back, but there's a lot of pictures that people post that don't use Plus that look really good because of the amount of control you get with the placement, since it doesn't move and you don't really have to place on anything. It's just in the middle of the screen, and then you can just line it up. People put out some really good pictures using non-Plus. And as someone who just spent 2 hours editing a picture of 3 Pokemon on stairs, I almost wish I had probably gone back and just used that. If you could use non-Plus and like push the Pokemon out, because obviously I needed a wide shot to get all 3 in, but like I would have much rather just been like, all right, now you're on the stair, as opposed to walking up 10 stairs, spawning a Pokemon, walking downstairs backwards, because if you like move, if it leaves the camera, it like goes everywhere. Never go back on that stair again. And then I had like 2 leaves on the ground where my feet were, so I could go back to the same exact spot from the last 2 pictures. It was a nightmare. So don't diss regular AR. It's got its uses. But yeah, that wraps up that tutorial, I think, on reflections using Snapseed. Thank you guys for joining me tonight, allowing me to show you some stuff. I forgot to say this on our last one that we filmed earlier today. I feel bad, but if you're watching this at home and you want to join us as a teacher or panelist and hang out, do an edit, listen to me and other people talk, feel free to drop me or anybody on here a DM, and we'll get you added to we have 2 Instagram group chats. one for the Americas, North and South, Canada, that time zone, and then we have another Euro one. And sometimes people come to both because they're awesome, like Steve. So yeah, we can add you to those chats. You can get into a future one. We plan them out. We've been pumping out one in each chat about every 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks. So got time. And yeah, that's all I have to say. Everyone else like to say anything? Obviously, everyone's links to Instagrams and podcasts and everything will be below. So check everyone out. All these wonderful people put out content, and hopefully you learned something today. And that's all I got to say. Anyone else? Say bye.
Thanks for the tutorial.
You're welcome. All right, guys. Well, we will catch you when we see you.